What's going on, guys? It's your boy Blue Games. Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to show you 5 ways that I create my flight plans for Infinite Flight and my global adventures. And this will work actually for any flight simulator or flight simulator app. It doesn't matter. This works for flight planning in general, but specifically for flight simulation. If you're looking to make real-life flight plans, you may want to look somewhere else. I'm just warning you right now. This is also specifically for US, all right? So I'm going to make another tutorial on how to do it outside of the US because there's a few of these websites that don't really work outside of the US, all right? So let's get started. The first way that I create my flight plans, and one of the easiest ways to me, and even more realistic ways also, is I use FlightAware. So go to your choice browser, whichever that is. You can also do this on your phone. You do not have to do this on your computer. I chose to do it on my computer. I usually have 2 devices when I'm setting up my flight plan. I have my iPhone 7 Plus, which is what I use for Infinite Flight, and then I have my computer usually side by side where I'm working with them together. So we're going to type in flightaware.com. There it is. And I'm gonna have the link to this in the description. Now, this is a very simple site. This site basically is where you can track a lot of real life flights. So right now, there's tons of flights going on around the world, based out of the U.S. specifically, and they're all tracked on this website. So if you want to look for any flight for anywhere, like sometimes when my wife may be traveling somewhere, or have a friend of mine who's traveling somewhere, I'll go look up their flight number or their airline, and I'll find their flight and I'll track their flight just for fun. You know, why not? So basically, let's get started. So first, as you see right in this first section, this little black section right here, you can choose your airline. So if you want to search flights by airline, so for example, you don't really know where you want to fly. Maybe you want to fly American Airlines. You can type in American Airlines or AAL, and it'll search all the American Airlines flights, and then you can choose from those flights. But what we're going to do today, also you can choose a flight number here if you know the flight number of the flight you're looking for. But what you can also do, and what I usually do, is I type in my origin and my destination. So today, for example, we're going to use my home airport, Kilo India Alpha Hotel, Houston Bush Intercontinental, and we're going to have our destination be LAX. Why not? So Kilo Lima Alpha X-ray. All right, you type that in, and then all you gotta do is hit the little search icon, and that's gonna pull up all the flights within, I think, like the last 24 hours up until tomorrow, of all the flights from Houston, Texas to Los Angeles, California. All right, and so as you can see, as we scroll down, we see all these flights arrived, because I'm recording this video later in the day, so a lot of flights have come and gone, but we have 2 flights. We have 1 flight actually scheduled here, and oops, I didn't mean to click on it. Here in 22 minutes. So this is by Compass Airlines, which is actually American. And then above that, we have another flight leaving in 1 hour and 55 minutes. So these are real life flights. So the way I do it is I usually choose either a flight that's en route, like these right here, or I'll choose a flight that just arrived. And the reason that I do that is because it's the most accurate and the most recent flight plan. Now, the flight plans are based on winds and all kind of situations like that. So if you choose a more recent flight plan, it'll get you there the fastest, all right? Because they're trying to be fuel efficient and things like that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to choose this en route right here, this top one, United UAL 17901. That's a Boeing 737-900 en route and on time. It left on Wednesday, 7:21 p.m. And so I'm going to click. All you got to do is click on the little identification code. That's going to take you to the flight. And now we see, United 1791 en route and on time, arriving in 3 hours and 4 minutes. So if we scroll down just a little bit, you can see the map. You can see this flight actually just left not too long ago. It's it's right outside of Houston right now. So it has a long way to go. It just actually left. So this is probably the most recent flight plan we can use. This is a flight plan they are using right now as I record this video. So as this is real quick to explain what's going on the page. At the top, obviously we have United. You got the flight number, all that good stuff. It says that it's en route, it's on time. Sometimes it'll say that it's delayed or canceled. Sometimes if that happens, it tells you the date, the time that it left on time. It tells you the hours en route. So right now, right here, it has total flight time, which is very important for Infinite Flight because you need to know how long the flight's going to take so you know how much fuel to put in. So that's where I get those numbers from. So 3 hours, 33 minutes. So we'll keep that in mind. And then as you scroll down, go to the right side. And it actually shows you, sometimes it'll show you the gate. Sometimes it doesn't. Actually, it shows you the gate up here at the top under the city name. So left gate E20, and then arriving gate will be gate 71A. So I mean, it depends on what level of realism you want to portray. You know, because I know Infinite Flight actually allows you to load up at specific gates. So if you want to load up at the exact same gate and arrive at the exact same gate, you can do that if you want to do that realism. And personally, I'm the kind of person who would do something like that. So as we look at the right side, it's not. I mean, this is all good information. It has your departure time, scheduled arrival times, has aircraft information. You can look at photos of the specific aircraft that it's flying. As we can see here, we're flying a Boeing 737-900 twin jet. So that's good information to know if you want to for realism. Also, as you go down, it gives you airline information. It even gives you the average fare on that flight. Does it have food for sale? I mean, all kind of stuff. It's pretty cool. Let's keep going down. Flight data. Now, this is what we need right here. So speed is 521 miles an hour, but it's planned for 527. So if you want to kind of gauge the speed you're going to be flying by that, you can use that. Also, in altitude right here, this is very important. Planned altitude, and on the right side it says 34,000 feet. That's flight level 340. Right now, I believe it's at 27,400 feet, and it's climbing. So that's what that means right there. So this is where I get my flight levels from too. When I use FlightAware, this is where I get my flight levels from. And then it gives you your distance, all that good stuff. And then right here, this is what's really important: the route. This is the route that this aircraft is actually using right now. This is the most recent route that they're using on this, from Houston to LAX right now. And so what we want to do is, if you're on your phone, you can actually copy this route and paste it into your Infinite Flight. It's very helpful. Only thing I want to show you guys is a couple things in this. It's a couple of things in here. So you may not know what any of this means. You may be brand new to aviation. Like I said, this is the basics of it. But this first little, set of letters and numbers, this is a departure. Now, I know that it's because I've been working with this so much that I recognize it. You may not recognize it. You can try to input this whole thing in there, but I guarantee you this first part is not going to show up. And the reason why is because this is a SID. What a SID is a standard instrument departure. What that is basically every aircraft, not every single flight, but on most flights, ATC or somebody will assign you a standard instrument departure, and that allows for different things to get you over obstacles sometimes, to get you around traffic, to get you to altitudes through altitude restrictions, all kind of stuff. So we're going to talk about that more in another advanced tutorial. Right now, we're going to keep it basic. Another thing to watch out for in this route is right here, J4. That is what's called an airway. All right. If you see a letter in front of one number, two numbers, three numbers in the U.S. at least, that means that is a airway, and this will also not. Infinite Flight will not recognize it. So Infinite Flight will not recognize airways, and it will not recognize standard instrument departures. And another thing, at the very end, we see this right here is very similar. You see it's a kind of like a code of letters with a number behind it. That's called a star. That's the opposite of a departure. That's basically what you use when you're flying into an airport. That's what it's called, a standard terminal arrival route, I believe is what star means. And so Infinite Flight is not going to understand that either. But one way, if you want to trick the system, is you can kind of just delete that number off of it, because this is actually a waypoint right here. This is a waypoint. The number is just kind of like I said, I'll explain that in an advanced tutorial later. But basically, to keep it short, you can copy this whole thing into Infinite Flight. It'll give you enough waypoints that you need to get you from point A to point B, but it will not show the SID, it won't show the airway, and it won't show the star. All right, and again, this is a basic tutorial, so I'm not going to be going into what SIDs and stars and airways are, but later on I will do that. So you can copy that into Infinite Flight, and that'll work just perfectly. That'll get you from Houston to LAX at 34,000 feet, 535 miles an hour, in about 3 hours and 33 minutes. All right, so it's pretty accurate. And then you just make sure you plan for fuel and things like that. And that's the first way that I plan my flights. All right, and the next way that I plan my flights in and around the U.S. is using skyvector.com. That's skyvector.com. All right. All right, now you're probably wondering, what's all these green dots, all these green pins? These are just all different weather stations and airports around the world. I mean, the whole world is actually shown here that you can click on. You can actually see the METAR data just by hovering over it right here. So that's the first thing I'll show you about this site, is that you could easily just hover over, like this right here is KDFW, Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. You can hover over and you can see all the METAR information in the little yellow box right below it. So all you gotta do is go up to the top right here, click on the flight plan, open up this big gray box, And then you can type in, like I said, in your departure. It's going to do the same example from before, KIAH, which is going to be George Bush International, and you hit tab, and then that will open up that. And if you're on a phone, you can just hit like the little enter, whatever it is, to send you to the next thing. And this also does work on mobile, just so you guys know. It doesn't. It's not as pretty on mobile, but it works on mobile. We'll type in our destination, KLAX, hit tab. That's going to go Los Angeles. Los Angeles. So what it does is it's going to draw a straight line from one destination to the next. So it doesn't matter where you put it. It could be from Houston to Dubai, LAX to London. It's going to draw a straight line from one point to the other. No route, just straight there. Now that'll be helpful, if maybe you were doing a VFR flight from one airport to another, like a really short, flight or whatever. So there's a couple ways that you can use SkyVector. Now the way that I do it, all right, the way that I do it. Actually, first I'm going to show you a different way, and then I'm going to show you the way I do it because I like my way better. So for example, let's do something a little bit shorter, all right, because it doesn't really make too much sense for a longer route. Let's try KLAX to KSAN. All right, there it is. So now once you type that in, it also zooms you into those waypoints. So what you can do is you can actually click. Now I don't know if this will work on mobile. I haven't tried this on mobile, but if you're doing this on desktop, maybe even on a tablet, if you click on this little pink line, you click and drag, you can actually bend it and move it around. And so when you let go, it'll drop it on the nearest location, and it also will give you GPS coordinates. So the first one, it gives me Corona Muni, KAJO, and then it gives you El Toro, which is the closest VOR, and then it also gives you the frequency for that VOR. It gives you a few different intersections, what these are. That's what that little cross line means. That little icon right there means those are intersections between different airways. And then the last one is the GPS coordinates, which you could also put into Infinite Flight if you would like. You can actually put in GPS coordinates. And that's something I may have to show you guys in an advanced tutorial. I've actually just learned how to do that myself. So you can do it that way. You could just draw them out. So I can say, okay, let's plan for El Toro, and then see. As you saw how far away it was, what it does is it drops it at the nearest point that it has. So you can click another point and say we want to follow the coast down. Maybe we want to go over here, let go, and then they have another waypoint, another airport actually, which is McClellan. Not sure how to say that name. KCRQ or Oceanside, or you can use one of these. Again, same concept. So if you would like to do it that way, it's very easy. You can just drag and drop basically. So I'm gonna hit one of these, drag it over here. Say we want to take a scenic route way out here, and I can hit Riverside, and I can drag this over here, and then hit like that, and then one more time, click and drag it out here somewhere, and then we'll just click plan. So basically, you can just drag and drop, which is really cool. If you wanted to create a custom route where you kind of want to go a specific direction, especially for VFR flying and things like that. And also, as you can see on the left in our flight plan box, it dropped all those waypoints into our route. And so you can actually copy these waypoints all to your flight simulator, your Infinite Flight Simulator. All right. So that's one way you can do it. But the way that I do it is we're going to delete that. We're actually going to go back to our original plan. So we're going to go KIAH to KLAX, Los Angeles, and you can actually just press routes right here. Click on routes, and that's going to give you 3 different suggested routes. Now this first route, it gives you a little leaf, so it's saying that this is the most fuel efficient route. So if you click on that, you drag and drop, you'll see now it's not just a straight line from point A to point B. Now you see a few different waypoints here and there. It's kind of like staggered. It's not like a complete straight line. Now if we look at on the left side in the flight plan box, we see again we have this same departure, the same SID that we had from Flight Aware, the exact same one, the BNDTO 5 to Krager, departure. And again, I'm going to explain about what that means in a more advanced tutorial later on. But right now, I don't need to worry about that. Again, in SkyVector, it actually highlights them. So now you see in different colors. So the more tan looking, maroon looking color is these are departures and arrivals. So Sea View, that's an arrival flying into LAX, which is a very popular arrival actually flying into LAX from this direction. And then as you see in green, it shows you all the airways. Now, anything that's in color is not going to work in Infinite Flight. All right, so you can use Krager, you can use ELP, you can use SSO, TNP, but you Sea View 2 and I don't know how to say that, 5, that's not going to work. But another trick, again, if you delete the 5, I'm going to hit tab. Boom, that is a waypoint. Like I said, that is a waypoint. So if you recognize that, you can just delete the number off of it. I'm gonna do the same thing for Sea View, and boom. So I mean, if you would like to, that which I kind of recommend you do, if you kind of want to do like a simple arrival departure and then you get vectors from ATC, I kind of recommend you do that. Just go ahead and delete the numbers off of the departure and arrival of the route that you found, and then you just use a waypoint to get you to the airport a little bit closer. Now, as far as the airways, this does not work the same way. The airways will not work at all in infinite flight. So you can't just take the 4 off and just have a J. You can't just take the 50 off. You can't just use the 50. From my experience, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, these do not work at all. So anyways, basically, I would delete these airways like so, hit tab again, and then this would be my flight plan. I would copy this straight to infinite flight. Now, however you need to do that, whether if you're doing this on your phone, you can copy it straight from your phone to infinite flight, or you can email it to yourself. If you have an iPhone, you can put it in your notes and use iCloud. I don't know. I don't care how you do it. Just you need to get these waypoints to your phone. Now, one other thing, actually a couple of other things. At the top, you can see it has speed. Now, how do you know what your speed is? You know, right now it has like Mach 0.82. Now, there's some different ways to find out. Usually, the way that I do it, so if I go back to Flight Aware, I usually use Flight Aware and SkyVector together. Again, I'm showing you how I personally do this, okay? I usually use these two together. So I'm going to take, this is the exact same flight plan from earlier. I'll take, so 527 nautical miles, not nautical miles, 527 miles per hour. I'll put that right there. I'll hit tab. That's going to change our ETE time now, our estimated time en route. And then I'm going to add our planned altitude in there too. Now you can type this in two different ways. You can type in FL 340 for flight level 340, hit tab, or you could type 340, hit tab. It's going to automatically put it, or you can put 34,000. It's going to change it to 340. So either way, it all means the same thing. Sorry. Okay, so let's get this out of the way. The thing that keeps popping up on my screen, when you hover over the airport names, it actually will give you more information. This is where I get my charts. All right, and this is some more advanced stuff. This is stuff I'll show you in more advanced tutorial. But if you know what charts are, you know how to read them, this is where I find them for the U.S. All you gotta do is type in your departure destination from SkyVector. You go in here, you hover over the airport, and then boom. If I click on airport diagram, that's gonna show me the airport diagram for LAX. So now you get to see all the taxiways, Charlie 5, Bravo, the runways, 25 right, 24 left. It gives you the headings, all that kind of stuff. If you know how to read that. And again, I may have to make a tutorial later on how to do that. There's a lot of information you can put in. You can even put in fuel right here, which I'm not going to go into right now. You can put in the Zulu time that you're leaving. It'll give you the local time. You can put an aircraft number if you like. If you create an account, which I have, you can also hit save right here, and you can save your flight plans. I think I've hit my limit, so if I hit save, it actually won't save for me. But you can hit save, and so after, you can actually go to the little folder right here next to the save icon, and you can open all your past flight plans. These are all my, like I said, I have a lot. These are all my past flight plans that I've used back when I was flying an X-plane and everything like that. So it's pretty cool. Like if you want to go back and get a flight plan from before, it's a nice way to store your flight plans. I've never really hit this share icon before. I don't really know what that does. I think it lets you export it. So, and then if you hit the little paper, it just makes it blank. So that's how I use SkyVector. One other thing, actually, before we do that, I don't think this really applies too much for infinite flight, but if you click on Navlog below it, that'll give you a sheet that you can actually print out, a PDF. And it gives you all of your waypoints. It gives you the GPS location of every waypoint. TOC means top of climb, so that's where your top of climb should be. And then right here, TOD that's where your top of the descent. So for a lot of people always ask, how do I know when my top of descent is? Well, there's a few ways to know that. This actually makes it easy for you. It tells you when you should be descending. You should be descending after SSO and before T and P from 34,000 feet. It doesn't really tell you, I don't think, how fast to descend. It also gives you a bunch of different information about headings and things like that. But like I said, I may go into that a little bit more in an advanced one, but this is very helpful. Also, if you click on briefing and filing, actually no, do not click on that. You don't need to click on that. It's actually illegal for you to file an actual flight plan on this on this website. One last thing about SkyVector, and I know I'm spending a lot of time with SkyVector, but this is what I spend most of my time in when I make my flight plans. Up here at the top of the flight plan, the gray box, if you click on this little thing, it'll slide to the right. Now, this is not all that helpful when it comes to infinite flight, but if you're flying in a different flight simulator, it gives you the waypoints again. It gives you the headings that you're flying between each waypoint. It also gives you the distance between each waypoint. One other thing that it gives you is this right here. Now, if you're flying in anything that's not infinite flight, that actually allows you to put in VOR, it lets you tune into VORs in the way that you would in real life. This would be the frequency you would tune in order to intercept this VOR right here. So they give you that information. This is very helpful, and you can also get that on the Navlog page also. And that is the second way that I work on to create my flight plan. Before we move on, it's just so much. I may have to do a whole new tutorial on SkyVector. There's just so much to talk about. Man, let's talk about the top right of the screen. We haven't even gone into that. So first of all, we have our Zulu time, which is very helpful. If you ever wonder, okay, what time is it Zulu right now? Right here, it'll tell you. It's a clicker. It's like a clock. It's always going. Right here is a GPS coordinates of, I think, whatever you click on. So if I click, I'm not exactly sure what that's showing me because it's not changing. Let's see. Nope, I don't know. I know that's just GPS coordinates of something. I'm sure when you click on something, it changes. So, all right, so moving on to the right, we have layers. There's a lot of layers. I'm going to try to do my best to go through this as fast as possible. I don't want this video to be too long. But, all right, so you click on layers, and you have so much more information here. You have FBO, which you don't need, navigation data, which you don't need. But here's what you need. Text weather. So if you don't see those green dots showing up, you click there, and that'll do that. It shows you the METARs and TAP. That's how I hover over the green dots, and it shows me the METARs for each. So sometimes when Infinite Flight does not have the METAR data yet, I'll go on SkyVector and I'll get it from there because sometimes it updates a little bit more faster. Now, temporary flight restrictions, that's what this is, TFR. So you click on that and it'll show you if there's any flight restrictions, of which they are, a few red dots out here in California that you can see. So this means that, it's temporary flight restrictions. And then purple is DROTAMs. It's basically a bunch of drones saying a bunch of stuff. I really don't know that much about that, to be honest. People in the chat, if you have anything to add on to that, you can say something in the comments below, and I appreciate it. So pilot reports is basically pilots flying and giving reports about what the weather is like in those areas. And you can click on those to actually see what they say. So right here over is a light turbulence at 30,000 feet. Now this is very helpful information. Now if I hover over this one, it says no turbulence at 10,500 feet. That was reported 33 minutes ago. Now, it's very helpful if you're flying in a lot of these areas and another pilot has flown there before. He will leave a pilot report, and then for other pilots to know when they fly through the area to be expecting a light turbulence or whatever. Segments, honestly, I don't really know what that is, or outlooks. Airmets, you can show you icing. I don't know if we're going to see any. There's some up there in Washington right there. So icing, this is very helpful. Turbulence, so you know where turbulence is and what not. Instrument flight rules. That just means that the visibility is so low that it's IFR conditions only. Mountain obscuration, and it's pretty obvious what that is. It's just showing that mountains would obscure your sight and things like that. Like I said, you guys, you can correct me if I'm wrong about any of this stuff. Also, we have radar. This is very, very helpful. I don't really know completely the difference of both of these, but one of these shows weather radar. So I click on the first one, you see a few storms up here in the Vancouver area. If I click on the next one, satellite, that'll show us, I believe, cloud cover and stuff like that. Again, I'm not sure completely what that is. I don't want to go too much in depth because I don't want to say anything wrong, but it kind of gives you just, those two together will give you a lot of weather information. And then cloud top height, that shows you that. And then winds aloft, very important. This is a new feature in Infinite Flight, and now we have to pay attention to winds. When you're doing these long flights, so if we were flying from LAX right here all the way over here to Hawaii, to Honolulu, Hawaii, as you can see, there is a strong headwind if you were flying from LAX to Honolulu. But if you're flying from Honolulu to LAX, you have a very good tailwind. And I'm not going to go into how to read the winds aloft right now, so this is not what this tutorial is about. So anyways, that's very helpful. That's what the layers are. Let's turn off the winds so that we can't see them. And then we're going to go to world high. So basically these are the world high charts. So this is going to show a whole lot of airways and a whole bunch of stuff. Again, this is a more advanced thing, so I'm not going to go too much in that, but you do have the option to click on en route. All right, we're going to skip en route. It's taking too long. You also have world low. And basically, low, high, that just means altitudes. And then VFR is what we were looking at before. It actually, if you know how to read these, it shows you the heights and things like that of all the terrain around you. So, but you have to know how to read that. I'm not going to go into that either. Another a low en route chart, and then we have one specifically for Dallas. I'm not sure why they have that one there, but anyways, again, that is the second way that I create my flight plans.